Good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster.
Everybody's a suspect!
Honey, you got real ugly.
Don't fuck with the Chuck!
Welcome back to Toe Tag Reviews. I'm Chuck, and today we're going to be talking about the brilliantly bizarre movie called The Substance. It was directed by Coralie Farge, and I'm so sorry if I butchered that. And it made $55.4 million. Now, before we get started, I need a favor from you guys, and make sure that the bell notification is on and that you are subscribed. Now, enough chit-chat. Let's get started, shall we? First up, we have the facts. Margaret Qualley said one of the more challenging scenes for her was Sue's sexy dance class. Quote, that specific sexuality doesn't lend itself to me. And apparently, she got completely wasted first thing in the morning for that shoot. Tequila and weed got her through the day, which is fucking bitchin'. Ray Liotta was originally cast to play Harvey, but after his sudden death in 2022, he was replaced by Dennis Quaid. Now, it's no secret that Ray Liotta is a much better and overall more talented actor than Dennis Quaid, but I think this was for the best because he really went all out for this role, and he's this super over-the-top eccentric character, and it's truly unsettling. Lastly, there's a scene in the movie where Elizabeth cancels her date, and in that scene, after 11 takes, Demi Moore's face was so raw, the makeup team stepped in and was like, hey, guys, she can't do this anymore. And they were completely fine with that. Next up, plot. Elizabeth Sparkle, renowned for her aerobic show, faces a devastating blow on her 50th birthday as her boss fires her. Amid her distress, a laboratory offers her a substance which promises to transform her into a better, enhanced version of herself. Now, I really love the direction and the story that they tell with this movie. I think it's an important message and truly a one-of-a-kind movie. I can say wholeheartedly, I don't think I've ever seen a movie quite like this. Now, I know there's body horror movies, I get that, but this is so different and it's just a fun ride that draws you in with literally every scene. Next up, we got characters. Elizabeth Sparkle is played by Demi Moore, and I was shocked to see that she still had it in her. She had this pain that we could all relate to, which is the passing of time, and the fact that we aren't getting any younger, and how we long to be youthful again. But as the movie progresses, we slowly start to see her become completely unhinged. Sue is played by the beautiful Margaret Qualley, and she didn't even nog. She showed up and blew the doors off of this performance. She not only steals every scene she's in, but she keeps you wanting more. Not to mention, she does a great job luring you in with her sexuality and her charm. I'll be genuinely shocked if she doesn't win an award for this performance. Harvey is played by Dennis Quaid, and if you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I mean when I say how ridiculous his character is. He's just so weird and odd and bizarre and crazy, and as crazy as he is, I wish we had more of him. Every scene he's in makes me more and more uncomfortable. Next up, we got the kills. There are only 2 deaths in this movie, if I remember right, maybe 3, but I'm gonna have to give the VHS rewind moment to Elizabeth. That scene is so violent, like how could it not be? The way Sue bashes her head in the mirror and then literally kicks her to death. And the practical effects are insane. Next up, we got scare factor. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one because it's more gross than it is scary. But I will say I found myself turning my head and covering my eyes quite often because 90 to 95% of this movie is extreme close-ups. But I genuinely love that because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Now, I hate needles just like many of you guys, but I cannot count how many times we see needles and injections, and it just made me feel ick, you know? But regardless, it was a smart decision to shoot this movie that way because I took it as to be in the limelight, and with all the beauty standards we have nowadays, you are constantly under the microscope, and I thought this was a good metaphor for that. Next up, we got the replay value. Personally, I could watch this movie till I'm old and decrepit like Elizabeth Sparkle, if you catch my drift. It's basically a super intense fever dream, and the message behind the movie is heavy. I've seen videos of people walking out of the theater, so take that into consideration. I know body horror isn't everybody's cup of tea, but as I've said multiple times, you like what you like. And if you don't want to get grossed out, that's totally okay. Lastly, we got the toe tag score. I gotta give this 5 out of 5. This was a complete surprise, and once I saw it, I just couldn't get it out of my head. It was just one of those movies. I came home from the theater and I told my wife, you have to see this movie. Now, I will admit, right after I left the theater, my buddy and I had to decompress and process what we just witnessed. So far, it's the best movie of 2024 in my opinion, and I encourage you to check it out. You will not be disappointed. All right, guys, that's a wrap on The Substance. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, I'm Chuck. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and until then, see you later.